I'm Lilo and you're watching Headbangers Lifestyle. And here I'm with Michael Weikath, guitarist of Helloween.
Pretend guitarist.
Pretend. Welcome. Helloween has a 30 years anniversary. How did you celebrate it as a band in private?
Not.
You didn't? Why?
No,
Why
because
not?
we did a kind of celebration, the 25 years weeks with the Unarmed album, and that was kind of our celebration, if you want to call it that. In reality, nobody celebrated anything, but I celebrated the classical recordings on the Unarmed. I really liked that. That was worth doing the whole project, just that, you know. And so the 30 years we don't really care much about it. It's just that everybody makes a big hubbub about it because, well, that's kind of like when the Walls of Jericho got released.
Yeah.
And so everyone's talking about the Walls of Jericho, even though the mini album was there before.
You treat the fans with a new album, My God-Given Right. What's the album all about?
This and that, and nothing. Basically the same world view that we try to give to people ever since we started, you know, just that. I think there's not so much with demons on there this time around, or not too much dark stuff except for Swing of a Fallen World and maybe Still of War, but even Still of War is kinda comedy. And Swing of a Fallen World maybe characterizes the world as it is right now, as it stands. Probably, at least that's Darius's intention. And the other tracks, the regular Helloween freedom, free will stuff, God-given right, thinking.
How do you see the album in the total catalog of Helloween?
I compare it to the Keeper One.
Why?
Because we've done the Keeper One with a similar sound. It was utterly good sounding and analog sounding, right? And it was probably the best sounding album we had right then. And I would have wished the Keeper 2 would have sounded the same, but compact answers. And because the Keeper 1 also was so harmless after something like the Walls of Jericho, then we had the Judas in between, which also wasn't exactly harmless or whatever, but like the Keeper 1 was so much softer and more accessible, commercial in a way, but no, right? And you know what I mean, when the Keeper 1 came, there were so many people who said like, oh, now they got that high-voiced singer who sings so damn good, and the music is so different, but we love it. And you know, it's a little bit like that with this record, I feel, because I think the outputs before, they have been harsher, more brutal, heavier, and meaner, yeah? Something like the Seven Sinners or whatever. And then on this one we also have a ballad. And so, you know, more or less, you know, they're like very close in my senses, right? And from what I hear from the people, it seems to have a particular magic. There's only been one person that I know since some time who told me this isn't a good album. And all the other people I know, you know, who are critical or who come as a reporter and do an interview or whatever, they said they think it's great and much better than so much other stuff we've done. And so I have to take that into consideration, because I wasn't quite sure myself, you know?
Oh, why not?
I can understand if people say this album is too soft, but I think it has a way more mighty magic than so many things we've done recently. It's developing its own dynamics, and I'm meanwhile very proud of that record.
So what do you think Helloween contributed to the heavy metal history, in your opinion?
I wouldn't say anything what we contributed. We just tried to do some records, and then people say we are the originators of power metal. Yeah, maybe, if you want to call it that. Basically, we just wanted to start out and do something great like Rainbow, except Man of War or something. any of these great bands and more. You know, like we had to do that stuff we did because we were aware of another German band called Lucifer's Friend, and you can call them maybe the Queen of Germany, yeah? the German Queen, and they were so much capable of doing things better than we could possibly do by that time, and they didn't sell anything, and they were not really famous either. And you know, even the singer, he was in Les Humphreys and he was in Uriah Heep later on, and still nobody knew Lucifer's Friend, right? They're still not very famous, and they're one of the best bands ever in a way. And so we had to really think hard, what do we do? What kind of music do we want to do to come through, you know, to the people who maybe want to buy albums of us. And first of all, we had to get a record contract. So all that wasn't so easy, really. And we were kind of aware of what we wanted to do, and that was what we did.
Image these days seems very important to a lot of bands. How is that for Helloween?
You know, I think it's not a bad idea what Sasha always says, you know, or other guitarist usually says, it's a good idea to look good. If you want to be a rock star, you also look a little bit like it. You know, that means get a better jacket or whatever, not exactly like the recent one of Puma or Adidas or whatever. So I'm more like this, you know, it's a plastic one by, I forgot, H&M, 50 euros, plastic. It's good, it's like something I had in leather when I was 19.
And when you're on stage, is it what you see is what you get, or did you develop kind of maybe a kind of alter ego on stage, a personality for yourself?
Got some kind of alter ego. The entertainment animal I try to pursue, you know, which doesn't always work. But if people understand it, you know, I mock myself, or I mock guitarist superstar assholes. And I have great fun doing this, you know. Sometimes people misunderstand that, and then they go like, you know, but that's probably one in a crowd, you know, and then usually if that's going on for too long, I haven't thrown out, if possible, because then that's pissing me off. But basically, you know, I just have to do something, you know. If I don't do much, people go like, and what does he do? Not much, you know, and what does he show on the guitar? Not much. Yeah, right, just a bit of entertainment.
So do you have maybe a ritual or something you do before you go on stage to get
well,
into
we usually haggle little fingers, because that's the best thing, you know. Some people in our band are married, they have rings, you know, and then if you press the hands, it goes like, out! And so, you know, you can hurt each other least, you know, with a little finger. Yeah. I think I started that, but now we all go like, you know, everyone.
Most outrageous you did so far? Maybe money-wise, for royalties, outrageous spending?
Outrageous spending? I'm buying too many guitars, I'm buying too many Les Paul guitars, and I'm buying too many other cheap guitars, you know, because
there's one other important figure, that's the Helloween pumpkin. It's also along the whole career of Helloween. It evolved. How did it evolve in your opinion?
Well, that was just because I did the logo back then, and I didn't want to put an O there, simple. And so it was more than obvious, you know, to put a freaking pumpkin in there. That's what other people did too, with their Helloween logos. Whether they're a band from Detroit or if they just want to make another kind of logo for something to sell, whatever they want to sell. Then you have like the Helloween, and the pumpkin is right in the middle, it's so obvious. And we have so little to do with that because we are not American natives. We have no idea what Helloween really is, except we played Dallas once during Helloween, which was like quite an experience, but what would we really know about that festivity, you know?
Yes, but the pumpkin developed on every album cover. It's always been there.
Yeah, it's something like a mascot, and I
Yeah.
think it's much better than something like, for instance, the Fang Face monster that we had on the first few albums,
Yeah.
which is not exactly kind or nice or whatever. It's just some evil thing, and you wonder what is he doing then? What is he good for? And that's kind of like also why he got abolished in some band meeting that we had, and then Gamma Ray has been using him ever since.
Yeah.
And,
Pumpkin looks pretty cool on the new
and you
cover.
can do so much with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have a name in
No.
private?
The pumpkin thing, the pumpkin guys or whatever. People make up names for it, we never do.
No, it's just there.
We call them pumpkin projects for each track. That's what we call them.
So is Halloween still fun for you, or did it became a kind of a job?
No, both. Both. It's a fun job or a job fun. And I'm usually never bored, that never happens to me. I can also just dream into some other reality in front of me, and then people are asking me, are you alright,
Yeah. Okay. So how would you like Halloween to be remembered in the future?
Yeah, one of the most original bands if possible.
Would you like to say anything to your fans?
Thanks for the support, always. I thought, I say this a lot more often because it's so true. It sounds so boring. Then always like, yeah, here he comes, and thanks to the management, and thanks to our record company, thanks to the fans. Yeah, but that's how I mean it, we couldn't do anything if not the fans were there who have always supported us through good times and bad times. You could sit at home, there's enough bands who do not have enough fans, and they do sit at home looking for a job or what else they could use. Right? I'm fully aware of that. So thanks to the fans for the support. Yes.
Thank you for watching Headbangers Lifestyle.